the drivers all lined up in the brand new Aston Martin DBR9. It's Jonathan Wong who lines up on pole position. He was the fastest man of the lot yesterday. Cody Nicola-Lakowski from Australia. Huge cheer from him for the crowd here tonight. Rick Kevelan lines up in P3 at the head of the second row of the grid. And alongside Rick, it is Danny Solis, the American driver. Good to see him back out and looking very competitive as well. Tatsuya Sugawara from Japan. A lot of support for him here tonight as well. Alongside him is Patrick Blajan. Nicolas Rubelar is in P7, the Chilean driver. And then in 8th position, it is Manuel Rodriguez, the Spaniard. Can he do a good job as Coque Lopez, his countryman, did last time around? Benjamin Barder lines up P9. Alongside him is Matt Simmons, the Australian driver. Again, a lot of support for him here tonight. The final row of the grid is headed by Valerio Gallo, the Italian. Stunning looking livery on that car, I must say. And Cy Bishop, the Kiwi, with the All Blacks livery, lines up in P12. Now, a rolling start for these drivers here, Jimmy. Heading down towards Paddock Hill Bend, what are you expecting?
I tell you what, I'd want a rolling start in this car with all the power underneath your right foot. Here we are then, Jonathan Wong will come out of here. He is our hot pick for the race. He was so fast yesterday in qualifying. In fact, our quickest qualifier of the race, of the qualifying yesterday, which means he had the pick of this one. So if anyone's going to beat him, it might be Cody behind, but Cody's starting on the medium compounded tyre, interestingly, with Rick Kevelan behind on the soft. So Cody's going to have to do some defending in this first stint. Maybe going to try and use the draft to stay with Jonathan.
And one thing you must bear in mind, of course, is the soft compounded tyres. You'd expect those to be quicker in the early stages of this race. If you're on the medium compounded tyres, you should drop back a little bit. We'll see how the status quo does work out for these drivers, though. But it's Jonathan Wong who will lead the field over the timing line, followed by Cody Nicola-Lakowski here at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. Semi-final B for the Nations Cup is about to get underway. Hold on to your hats and who is going to emerge on top and qualify for the grand final here tonight in Australia. Semi-final B, though, for the Nations Cup is underway as the field lead the way down towards the first corner. Jonathan Wong immediately tries to break out an advantage. You can see Cody Lakowski going on the defensive against Rick Kevelan as they come down through Paddock Hill Bend, now into Drummage. This is the first overtaking opportunity. Lots of aggressive moves being made. Danny Solis on the offensive there. Tatsuya Sugawara also trying to find his way through. And you can see Blajan has made some progress. He's now into P5 ahead of Sugawara. Into Graham Hill Bend we go. Lots of drivers running wide and taking liberties with the track limit, but everybody making it relatively cleanly through those first couple of corners.
And Jonathan Wong absolutely storming off in the lead. He's already got a second gap at the moment, very much signalling his intentions for the rest of this race. Cody Nicola-Lakowski in second now, the Aussie driver, acting as a bit of a cork in the bottle in that medium compounded tyres. He's going to do his best to keep his guys behind him at the moment. There is Sugawara, he's on the soft compound as well, so making his way through the pack at the moment. In the background there, that's Nico Rubelar trying to invent something, going through the right-hander. That's not going to happen through there. Now we come through the second sector, very narrow through this part. Here's Cody through Sheen Curve. Watch out for that grass on the left-hand side. Very easy to dip a wheel into that if you're being a little bit too aggressive. And now we come up to clearways to round off the first lap. Already an instant being under investigation, Tom.
I wonder if any drivers on the hard tyres are going to pit at the end of this first lap. They must use all three compounds of tyre. However, there is nothing to say that they have to use them for more than one lap in this race. So let's keep an eye on Nicolas Rubelar, the first driver on the hard tyres. And you can see Matt Simmons, Valerio Gallo, Cy Bishop do come into the pit lane there. Matt Simmons and Valerio Gallo onto the soft tyres. Bishop and Rodriguez onto the medium tyres. Solis and Sugawara also under investigation at the start of lap 2.
Now Cody's doing a great job here of keeping these guys behind. Now the medium compounded tyre is about a second on that, maybe 8/10 of a lap slower than the soft compounded tyre, so there's a lot less grip from the cars chasing him right now, so keeping them behind is a hell of a job there from the Aussie. Sugawara there, just diving up the inside of Rick Kevelan, almost tags the Dutch driver in front, but slots back in behind now, coming down Pilgrim's Drop, using the draft here to try and gain on the back there. V12 powered Aston Martin, you can't get more British than that on Brands Hatch 2. I'm swelling with national pride as we come through Hawthorns there, just off the front. You can see the telemetry there in the bottom right hand corner. But what's the inputs? A lot of brake into here. Very confident on the throttle on exit there, slamming it in almost, and now we come up to Sheen Curve. Oh, well, getting a little bit out of shape there. It's going to be careful on exit there, Sugawara. You can see just how on edge these cars are through there. I love watching these old GT1s, so much more movement than modern cars.
It's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? You can see there no incident, no further investigation, I should say, for Solis and Sugawara for that incident between them going through the right-hander. We're riding on board now with Sugawara, who's got a good drive out of clearways and coming over the brow of the hill onto the start-finish straight. He's isn't really a straight. You can see there, they're always ducking and diving and moving their way through. Here comes Sugawara diving down the inside of Rick Kevelam. Side by side they come through Paddock Hill Bend, heading down towards Druids we go, and Sugawara-san is through into third place. That is brilliant from the Japanese driver. Now his next target is going to be the medium compound shot, Cody Nikola Lukovsky.
If that aggression is anything to go by, he should get that done, hopefully, nice and quickly. Let's see now, already onto the back of Cody as we come up now towards 30. Throws it up the inside. My word, that was an absolute send there from a Japanese driver. Stops it on the exit, and just like that, he's through. What a drive there, and now he'll do his best to try and chase down Jonathan Wong. He's already got a 3-second gap in front at the moment, so it's going to be difficult to try and gain that back in. That's on pace alone, and Nico Rubila has been given a 5-second penalty for ignoring pit lane lines. Now, it's a very strict rule that was given to all of the drivers before starting this. That is, if you do not respect the pit entry lines, you will be given a 5-second penalty. Looks like Nico Rubila has broken that rule.
Dear oh dear. So from the high of yesterday and winning the Manufacturer Series to the low point of semi-final B, down in 9th position and being hit with a 5-second penalty, that is well, a disappointing set of circumstances for the Chilean driver, and he's going to have a hell of a job to try and overhaul his race from this point onwards. But stranger things have happened in motor racing, and they usually do. He serves that penalty now, and he's going to drop quite significantly far back off the rest of the field. It does promote Cy Bishop up off the back of the field as well now for the first time, and we spoke to him earlier on. He said, well, I'm sorry from the back, I can only go forwards, and he has finally at least done that. Now then, Rick Kevelam, we ride on board with him down through Graham Hill Bend. He's all over the back of Cody Nikola Lukovsky as he comes through. Trying to find his way past is the Dutch driver. He played a game of Skittles last year. He's the most recognisable incident, if you remember him, in one of the races in the Jaguar Vision Gran Turismo cars that we saw. But seems to have just refocused himself a little bit here for 2020, looking a bit calmer, a bit more composed, and crucially, a bit quicker as well.
I was going to say, while he's not won, I think he has the award for the world's first awarded red flag in a GT Sport Competition World Tour. So yeah, he's got that to his name at least. But Cody's doing a very good job here. It's quite easy to overlook him. Of course, he's falling back a little bit compared to the guys in front, but he is on the slower compound of tyre. Can't stress that enough. And the more he's able to stay with these guys now, the more advantage he'll have later on when it's his turn on the soft tyre, which it makes me think, I wonder when he's actually going to pit in and take that.
I see what Jonathan was absolutely flown away with this one at the start of this race. 3.2 seconds his gap sits at as we come on to the start of lap number 5, and that is hugely impressive for him. Just to give you an idea of his lap times, 1 minute 22.894 was it last time around, as Tatsuya Sugawara came over the timing line also on the soft tyres, a 1:23.127. He's nearly 0.3 of a second a lap faster. Meanwhile, back to the action on track. Cody Lukovsky going defensive against Rick Kevelam, who tries to go the long way around the outside. Now, if he could hold it through there, he'd have a good run and a good line down to Graham Hill Bend. Now, he gets a little bit out of shape, but he's got good drive going through there. That is very opportunistic for Rick Kevelam, and he slots himself into third place.
I think at this point, this is where Cody needs to think, right, how long do I want to be on these tyres for now? Because I'm starting to fall back into the other medium runners. Patrick Blajan there as well. He drove fantastically in the World Final in Monaco, in the Grand Final anyway, at least. Just a shame that that drive, if you excuse the pun, didn't come in a few races earlier. But this is the man who was just mind-bendingly quick when we first met him back at the Nürburgring in 2018, but has just not been able to kind of renew that speed since then. We're on board right now, the Hungarian driver, coming from the second part of the circuit. You can see just how little room there is for error around here. There are some curves, but they aren't very wide. If you go a little bit too aggressive into a corner, you can very easily end up kicking up the dust as Cody does an exit there. I squirm a little bit whenever I see that, because it's so easy to lose a car at that point. The outside tyres are loaded, and when you then put it onto the grass, they just want to slide away from you, and that's that. Keep an eye, by the way, guys, on Matt Simmons in 8th place. He's made one stop on the soft compounder tyre. He's currently catching this group you're seeing on the screen at the moment. So this is basically him using his soft compounder tyre in free air, doing what Baptiste Beauvoir did in the last race, and you know how that ended for the Frenchman.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very impressive from Baptiste Beauvoir. Look at the speed that they have to just drop off going into Druids. I tell you, I'm pretty familiar with Brands Hatch, but only on a motorcycle. Sadly, it's a little bit different compared to these Group 3 cars in the GT1 Aston Martin DBR9.
So you're used to picking up your bike, aren't you, Tom?
Yeah, normally, and breaking bones, mate, to be honest with you. That's my aim for next weekend, is to not break anything. Jonathan Wong, though, well, it's so hard to overstate how impressive his first stint has been on that soft compound of tyre. He needed to get a clean break out in front. That's exactly what he's done. 3.8 seconds up the road of anybody else, and lapping consistently quicker. Could he be your Michelin driver of the day? You can vote using the hashtag MichelinFIAGTC on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Maybe somebody else will put in a stronger performance, but get voting, and we'll be talking to them on the Extra Lap show straight after the end of our Nations Cup broadcast here tonight.
That's right, and of course I'll be hosting that. Sugawara has done what I said it's so easy to do around here. Just caught the grass, masterful recovery there from a Japanese driver. That's enough to warrant a change of underwear, I think, from Sugawara, but he's managed to keep it facing the right way. But now he has lost a little bit of time to the train behind him, of course, but most importantly, still in the race and still facing the right way.
I can just see Takuma Miyazono from our commentary position, mate, and I've just seen him pumping on his heart, saying, God, dear, I think he's just given Miyazono there, sorry, I should say, rather, a bit of a colliery. Now, here's the moment that happened on the white line, a little bit on the grass. Masterful recovery from Sugawara. Impressive stuff. I thought he'd looped it round, so apologies if I gave anybody a bit of a fright there. I think I'm going to have to change my microphone after that.
Yeah, you gave me a fright.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But looking back, you can see what that's done now. That would have worn the tyres being sideways like that. And you don't want unnecessary wear on this soft compounded tyre, especially with the tyre wear multiplier being at ×9. So that would have really hurt his tyres, which is why he's now dropped back. Danny Solis right now, he's still in contention, the American driver, someone who's been improving massively over the course of the last few events. Right now, if things were to end, he'd go through. Again, a little reminder, if you've just tuned in, first of all, hello, where have you been? And secondly, top 6 drivers go through to the grand final, and everyone else goes home. Right now, that's Banner, Simmons, Gallo, Bishop, Rodriguez, and Rubilar. But we still have a lot of pit stops to make, so everything can change.
Down through into the Sheen curve we go. And one thing I love about this circuit, being as old school as it is, Jimmy, is that you don't see tarmac runoffs at Brands Hatch traditionally. You've got grass, you've got gravel, you've got danger wherever you look, and that is what makes it very exciting. There's Rick Kevelam coming into the pit lane from P5 as well. He's on the soft, goes onto the mediums. Danny Solis does the reverse of that strategy from mediums onto softs. Are they going to take any fuel on board here at this stage? I don't think they're going to need to worry about fuel consumption too much here, as it's not too much in full throttle over the course of this lap, because the straights aren't particularly long at Brands Hatch, but it's just worth one of those things bearing in mind. However, Sugawara has dropped back, of course, following that moment he had. He's now 5.1 seconds behind the race leader, Jonathan Wong.
I think it's maybe time for Sugawara to come into the pit lane and get rid of those soft compounded tyres. It will hurt him to do that, of course, given that the tyre is a little bit quicker. And you're seeing there's the predicted tyre strategy. But look, we're on lap 8 and they're on soft, so throw that one out. Go on, get rid of it. There you go, thank you very much. We'll get rid of that. But Jonathan Wong, at the moment, he's just showing what you can do on these soft compounded tyres. If you keep them alive, if you respect them, there is a certain level of tyre management which is important to these events. It's really walking a tightrope. Do you push the car and go for out-and-out speed, or do you maybe save a couple of attempts of lap and save those tyres so you can keep that speed a bit longer? It really is just one of the many factors that come into racing around here and being a successful driver.
So Cody Nikolakowski, he has dropped back, of course, on that medium tyres. Patrick Blajan doing a good job of keeping him honest, albeit doing a good job of trimming the grass on the outside of the Sheen curve there as well. Now, Jonathan Wong, the race leader, does come into the pit lane. So, on the end of lap 8, he goes onto the medium tyres here. And what is everybody else around him going to do? Sugawara comes into the pits as well. He goes onto the medium tyres as well from the softs. Lakowski going onto the hard compounded tyres, as is Blajan. Now, are they going to do what everybody else did? Get on those for a lap, get off them, and get on the soft tyres for the closing 7 laps in this race?
That's very interesting. I think they're going to both... Yeah, there you go, they've come out on the train. Matt Simmons there, the Aussie driver, going around the outside of Patrick Blajan on pit exit. He's up now to P7. And now chasing down his countryman, Rick Kevelam, and Sugawara now come to blows coming through Druids. A little bit wide goes Kevelam, and Sugawara is back up into 3rd place. They were very close for a second there. Sugawara, of course, struggling big time on those tyres. Danny Solis, again, looking, exploring the track limits in the background. He's up to 5th position on the soft compounded tyre. For Danny Solis, the American now, he has to try and get by Kevelam and Sugawara as quick as he possibly can, because those tyres are going to be wearing pretty much instantaneously as he comes out the pit lane. There is the view there from Rick Kevelam. For a second there, he gets very close there to the Japanese driver. And look at Danny Solis, the difference in grip in that soft compound tyre. It's great to watch, but now all the time he's stuck there, he's losing time, important time in that soft compound.
The problem with Brands Hatch is it's so narrow, there's just no way to find a way past in this back section of the lap. It's almost similar in a way in its narrowness to the mountain at Mount Panorama, and you can see there that he's not able to find his way past. Maybe going into the final corner in towards turn 12 of Clearways he can find his way through, or perhaps down in towards turn 1 of Paddock Hill Bend. There's only a few overtaking opportunities really here at Brands Hatch. Paddock Hill Bend, Graham Hill Bend, something along the lines of that could be an opportunity for him. Benjamin Barder into the pits from the mediums to the hard compound of tyres. Latkovsky in as well, and Matt Simmons, as is Blajan and Valerio Gallo. So they all make their pit stops. Latkovsky and Blajan onto the soft tyres, as is Cy Bishop, and Matt Simmons and Valerio Gallo onto the mediums respectively as well.
Now this is going to be where it all comes together. Now we have Cody, we have Matt, we have Patrick, we have Valerio, and we have Cy Bishop. They've all made their stops, so they now can just drive to the end. And Matt Simmons there, just going around the outside Patrick Blajan. That's very important for him, but he is in that medium compound now, is Matt Simmons, so he's going to be a little bit slower than the cars behind. Meanwhile, Danny Solis all over the back of Rick Kevlin, coming up towards Hawthorne's, not using an overtaking opportunity, but he's going to give it a go. Looks up the inside, he might have to back out of this one. No, he sends it up the inside, asserts his dominance there through on Rick Kevlin, and up to third he goes. Absolutely sent that there, and that's not really a place to overtake usually, but he made it work, didn't he?
He must be carrying some ballast in that car, Danny Solis, in the form of some serious cojones after that move, because that was very aggressive indeed from the American driver, but he made it work. I tell you what though, Cody Latkovsky might have pulled a bit of a blinder here, Jimmy, because he's come out on the soft compound of tyres, but he's got a bit of a gap to Nicolas Rubelar in front. That's going to just allow him a bit of a lap to send it a bit and just set some faster lap times in clear air, not be in the dirty air, the turbulence air, and just be on his own for a bit. That's what you need on these soft tyres.
Right, here's a replay. You see just got a little bit later on the brakes, put his car on the rear quarter panel. Rick would have known he was there at that point, and it's either turn in or crash. So Rick said, OK, I'll let him go, and that was it. So here's Cody, as you said, Tom, really good spot. He's got quite a lot of space in front of him now. Of course, let us know what you think of the event so far. Hashtag FIA GTC. Again, let us know how nice Tom looks. Isn't he pretty today? Look at him.
It's all the makeup, mate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty warm under it. I mean, there's an interesting comparison to my face and my arm here. Not quite the same shade.
I think it's added about 3 kilos to my weight, given how much they put on earlier, to be honest with you. Cody Latkovsky, though, you can see him there. There is the clear air. Meanwhile, Patrick Blajan, who's also on the soft kind of tyres, he's in a bit of an unfortunate position because he's got the soft compound. He can follow Cody Latkovsky, but, of course, he is in that dirty air, and that's going to just cost him a little bit of downforce, a little bit of time. Meanwhile, further back, there's a bit of action going on. Matt Simmons versus Valerio Gallo on the medium tyres, and Valerio is fancying a bit of a sneaky look here, but he's, again, not quite as brave as Danny Solis, and understandably so.
So I was just thinking that I think I missed the pass there between 5th, 2nd, 7th. So Matt did lose those positions there on the medium compound, so he wasn't quite able to hold them behind for now. This is interesting. So who has to stop? We have Jonathan Wong, Sugawara, Danny Solis and Rick Kevlin are now yet to stop. This will be interesting to see if Matt Simmons' plan has worked. He started quite far down the grid, did Matt, but he's running in 7th place right now. All that means is one more place, and he goes through to the grand final. It'll be great to see an Aussie in the final, especially here, of course, at their home event here in Sydney. Here's Danny Solis looking up the inside of Sugawara. Yes, he does. He does get it. Sugawara there is then forced wide, and no. Oh, a little bit of contact on exit. I think Sugawara saw him coming, tried to brake a little bit later to avoid it, and now Sugawara has the American driver all up his rear wing at the moment as we come up now towards Surtees. You can't really go around the outside. There might be an attempt at a cutback here from Danny Solis. Now watch the drive here of the Aston Martin. Danny had a much better exit, and now he has the draft and he has the momentum. He's going to have to look around the outside. It's going to be a very brave move from Danny if he can get it working. Side by side then into Hawthorne's. Danny looking around the outside. He sweeps around the outside of a Japanese driver, and Danny Solis is on an absolute charge right now, making the most of that soft tyre. I have never seen that move made before.
Well, the incident is under investigation a little bit before, and it's just a warning given to Danny Solis, thankfully, but what a move from the American driver. That was spectacular, and the crowd here in Sydney absolutely loved that one as well, understandably so, because, as you said, Jimmy, I've not seen anything like that before, and this is brilliant. Now, how quickly is he going to be able to bridge that gap to Jonathan Wong? 7 seconds it sits at, but if you look at the difference in lap times between them, He was about 3 or 4 tenths of a second a lap faster than Jonathan Wong, so Wong's pace on the medium tyres at the moment isn't too bad, but now Solis has got a bit of clean air in front of him. This is going to be a true test of what he's made of.
I think so. No, I do think that Danny has wasted a bit of time being stuck behind other guys, which is fine, of course. He wants to get in a good position for the end of the race. I mean, the long and short of it is, as long as you're in the top 6, it doesn't really matter. But Cody, he has gained so far 3 seconds on Rick Kevlin since he passed. So Cody Nikolakowski is absolutely flying right now in the midfield, and more importantly, he has made all his stops. So I think when all is said and done and everybody else pits in, there's a good chance he'll probably be in the top 3, top 2, maybe even challenging Jonathan Wong at the end. And there he is now, deep in concentration. Very disappointing day yesterday for Cody manufacturers. Mercedes-Benz not really what we're used to seeing from them. They're a long way down the field, but Cody, I think, wanting to right that wrong a little bit today.
I think Cody's in a really good position here, actually. I think he's looking very strong, and as you said, difficult day at the office for him yesterday, Jimmy, but I wonder if this is going to be the turning point for him. Maybe we'll see him challenging for the top step here tonight. Let's see how things will go. Valerio Gallo, meanwhile, all up the gearbox of Matt Simmons, trying to find his way past. Coming up the hill we go, hard on the brakes, and you can just see the commitment as they just throw the car through the corner. It is wonderful to see these drivers on the limit, and Valerio Gallo doing a really good job of just keeping that on the straight and narrow as he gets a face full of dust from Simmons.
Face for the camera as well, there on the right-hand side, but he's done a good job staying there, but it comes again to Brands Hatch being difficult to overtake on. I say that, there's been some great overtakes we've seen in this race, of course, but when it's all said and done and you're on the same compound of tyre, it can be a bit tricky. 240 k's there before breaking down the T1. You want to try and hug the inside, let the car just drift off to the left here, not too much. Oh, well saved there by Valerio Gallo. That was, I would have lost that one, I can tell you that one.
Yeah, he was really late on the brakes there as well. Of course, dirty tyres, and you can see him scrabbling for grip as he sent it into Druids Bend. Just about kept it on the straight and narrow. Somebody who's had a quiet race, though, is Cy Bishop.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, we've hardly seen anything from him. He's got Benjamin Barder trying to find his way through. Of course, Bishop on the soft tyres, Barder also on the soft tyres here as well. And, well, Bishop hasn't really featured too much in this race so far, but maybe this will be the turning point for him. The 2 drivers in front, of course, are on the medium tyres, so he should be a little bit quicker than them. And if they start squabbling, it could be an opportunity for him to try and find his way past, and potentially, you never know how things might work out with strategy and just in motor racing in general, really. It's so unpredictable that it could be an opportunity for him to try and find his way through into that crucial top 6.
Cody now, the gap, 5 seconds to Rick Kevlin. That was 10 seconds when he had made his pit stop, so you can see the gap is coming down every lap at this point. He's even starting to pull away from Patrick Blajan behind on the same strategy, so quicker than Blajan at this point as well. Now, last pit stops. Rick Kevlin coming in for that hard compound of tyres, given up on the medium, can't make it last any longer. That might be his race done if he can't get that hard tyre working. And look at that, because of the soft runs at the end, he's dropped all the way down the order. No, he hasn't. Our timing screen has come. Thank you, timing screen. I appreciate that. But he does come out just ahead of Matt Simmons, who, of course, now is on the better compound of tyre, which could mean Matt Simmons goes up into 6th place. If we end the race now, he will go through to the grand final, but just like that, he's back down to 7th. So there's a fight there going on behind. Come on, Caraman, I don't want to see the onboard. I want to see what's going on behind us. We're still on board with Cody, but I want to see what's happening with Rick and Matt Simmons. Come on, lads.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close between those drivers. There is Patrick Blajan in P5, but in the background, look at this. This is an absolute train of cars, and Simmons is up the inside. He's through into 6th place, and 4 cars squabbling for position now, but it's the Aussie, to the delight of the crowd here in Sydney, who is through into P6, but Kevlin's not going to take it lying down. Barder looking aggressive as well, and keep an eye out for Valerio Gallo in the middle of the mix as they come down into the right-hander. Bishop trying to find his way through on Gallo on the inside. Is he going to find his way past? There's contact, I think, there, and goes off the track. Oh, he's just about kept it on the straight and narrow, but Bishop goes through, as does Benjamin Barder, so Gallo goes from potentially challenging for 6th place down into 10th in the space of a few corners.
Now, Sai right now has got his elbows out. He knows that he's fighting for survival. Sugawara comes into the pits now. He's on the hard compound tyre. Cody goes up into 3rd. Let's see what happens now as we come on to the last few laps. It's all coming alive here at Brands Hatch with the Aston Martin DBR9 coming soon to GT Sports, so you can try us at home and get involved, and maybe you'll be here next time we're commentating. Matt Simmons there, currently in 6th position. That is in the hot seat. Rick Kevlin on the hard compound tyre, struggling to get him up a temperature in the background. Cy Bishop and Benjamin Barder now. Benjamin Barder having to defend from Cy, and yes, he goes back down into 9th position. Now here's a replay of what happened here. This was Matt Simmons and Rick Kevlin when we were trying to watch it earlier on. Matt just pulls alongside, coming into 30s, hangs out Rick Kevlin to dry, takes a place, and Yossi goes, of course, up into 6th position.
Very, very impressive from Matthew Simmons. Former GT Academy winner, of course, in Australia, and it's great to see him performing so well out there on circuit, trying to find his way back past of Rick Cavallum. Down the drop they go in towards the right-hander. Here is Cody Nikolikovsky, who's still got Patrick Blajan for company. Incident under investigation between Manny Rodriguez and Valerio Gallo. Those drivers in 10th and 11th position for contact. Well, clearly that would be, I guess, at the benefit of Manny Rodriguez, who must have made the contact. Now Jonathan Wong, the race leader, into the pits for his last stop.
Here we go now. Keep an eye where Jonathan Wong comes out the pit lane. Daniel Solis will follow him in too for his pit stop. There it is. He'll go onto the hard compounder tyre. They're going to try and make them just last one lap. Now Wong comes out the pit lane. Where's Cody? Where's Cody? There's Cody in the background there. So Cody will come out, I think, in second position, maybe. Let's see where Daniel Solis emerges from the pit lane. He comes out in fourth. So right now he will qualify. But there you go in the background. That's the difference now between the leader and second place. Cody is having to defend from Patrick Blajan, but Jonathan Wong still retaining his lead. 3.8 seconds. Cody's good, but I don't think he's that good. 4 seconds over one lap. It's going to be pretty much impossible for the Aussie to try and reel back in again, but still, what a drive from Cody there, keeping it up in second place. Meanwhile, back down the field, we still have squabbles going on. Patrick Blajan very close to the back of Cody as well. Daniel Solis ahead of Sugawara, and Matt Simmons, more importantly, still in sixth position, but Benjamin Barder on the soft compounder tyre is right behind him. Give us six. There it is. Barder on the soft compounder tyre has the advantage right now over Matt Simmons. Matt's going to have to have an absolutely awesome defensive drive to keep this place for the last part of the lap.
Down in towards the drop we go, through into the right-hander, and Simmons soaking up the pressure of Benjamin Barder. A reminder that the top 6 drivers will make it through. The driver who wins this race will qualify on pole position for the grand final as well. It will be Jonathan Wong. If Cody Lukovsky finishes in second, he'll start at the head of the second row. But Matt Simmons fighting for his place in the grand final here. Through in towards the left-hander we go, getting very close as they go in towards the Sheen curve. And Matt Simmons has done a brilliant job. But here comes Jonathan Wong over the timing line, and he takes the checkered flag and the win in semi-final B. Cody Lukovsky comes home in second place to the delight of the crowd here in Sydney. Blajan finishes in third, Solis in fourth, Sugawara in sixth, and Matt Simmons has got the crowd on their feet, and he qualifies for the grand final here in Sydney, holding off the charge of Benjamin Barder. And that was what we love about Gran Turismo and the FIA GT Championships World Tour event. Magic, absolutely magic.
Tell you what, there was so much going on that we almost forgot that Jonathan Wong's in the race. He managed just to get away nice and easy there. That's what we like to see. A little bit of camaraderie there, and Matt Simmons there.